Hello children, today we are going to start a new chapter in your English literature book, that is Speedy, I Need You. So over here you can see warm-up is provided, and here's a question that awaits us, that is, do you know what robots are? So the question is asking us whether we know what robots are. So here you need to keep in mind that robots are machines that are made to look like human beings, and they are also made in such a way that they can do some of the things that we humans can. So next it said, look at the list below and tick the things you think a robot can have. So you need to look at this list of words that's provided underneath, and you need to tick the things that you think a robot can have. So this portion you can do yourself, by yourself. You can tick if you think that a robot has a brain, then you can tick a brain over there. If you think robots have eyes, then you can tick eyes. So similarly, you can tick those things that you think a robot can have. So now let's start reading the story. Two astronauts land on Mercury. So here we are being told that two astronauts. Now who are astronauts? And you can see in the word meaning people who travel to outer space. So over here we are told that two astronauts, that is two people who travel to outer space, they land on Mercury. And I hope you all already know that Mercury is the name of the planet. It is the closest planet to the sun. Next it said, since the planet is closest to the sun, so we are being told that the planet that's the planet Mercury is the closest to the sun. The heat is unbearable. The meaning of the word unbearable is also provided. Too painful to bear. So unbearable, it said that the heat is unbearable. Why is the heat unbearable? Because this planet that we are talking about, that is Mercury, is the closest planet to the sun. Hence the heat is unbearable. That is, heat is too painful to bear. They need selenium, a kind of metal, to survive the heat. So next we are told that these two astronauts, they will need what? They will need selenium. Now what is selenium? Then selenium is a kind of metal. It said it's a kind of metal to survive the heat. So these two astronauts, they need what? They need selenium. Selenium. You can see over there. They need selenium. It's a kind of a metal to survive the heat. However, selenium can be found only in a pool far from the spaceship. So next it said that this metal called selenium can be found where it's not, it can be found only in a pool. It can be found only in a pool, and that pool is far from the spaceship. So that pool is far from the spaceship. Now what is spaceship? Then you need to remember, spaceship is a vehicle that travels in space. So that pool is far away from the spaceship, and that pool contains what? Then that pool contains selenium, which these two astronauts need in order to in order to survive the heat. Next it said, they sent Speedy, their robot, to fetch it from the pool. So next it said that they sent, now these two astronauts, they sent whom? Then they sent Speedy. And we are told that Speedy is the name of their robot. So who is Speedy? Then you need to remember Speedy is the name of their robot, to fetch it from the pool. That is, fetch means to bring. So they sent Speedy, their robot, to bring it from the pool. So to bring what? Then you need to remember they sent Speedy in order to bring selenium from the pool. Why is selenium required? Then I just told you that selenium is required in order to survive the heat. Next it said, read the story to know what happens next. So we are supposed to read the story to know what happens once they send a Speedy in order to bring selenium from the pool. So now let's begin reading the story. There was a ghostly silence on Mercury. So it said that there was a ghostly silence on Mercury, means the place, that's the planet Mercury, was too quiet. It was too silent, like a place that is where a ghost dwells, where a ghost stays. So similarly, you need to remember that there was this planet, that Mercury, was too silent. It was there was a ghostly silence on Mercury, that is, it was too quiet. The planet was bathed in sunlight, blinding hot and merciless. So over here it's being told that this planet that we are talking about, which planet? Then we are talking about Mercury. It was bathed in sunlight. It was bathed in sunlight means it was covered with, it was enveloped in sunlight. Blinding hot and merciless. So what kind of sunlight was it? It was the sunlight was blinding. So blinding means the sunlight was so bright that it had the capability of making you temporarily blind. It was very hot and merciless. The meaning of the word merciless is provided over there. You can see, showing no mercy. So the planet was bathed in sunlight, blinding hot and merciless. Mike rushed down the steps of the spaceship and went into the control room where Greg was on his seat. So over here we come to know the name of the two astronauts. The name of the two astronauts are Mike and Greg. So what are the names of the two astronauts? Then you need to remember Mike and Greg. These are the what names of the two astronauts, and Speedy is the name of their robot. So you need to keep this in mind. So it's being said over here, Mike rushed down the steps. So Mike rushed down the steps means Mike went down the steps in a hurried manner of the spaceship and went into the control room. So after going down the stairs, where did he go? He went into the control room where Greg was on his seat. So over there, who was seating? Then over there, over here, you come to know that in their spaceship, that is in the control room, who was sitting over there? Then Greg was on his seat. Speedy had not returned to the spaceship, and we are told that Speedy, who has gone in order to bring what? Who had gone in order to bring selenium from the pool, he had not returned. The Red Cross, he explained to Greg. So this person, that is Mike, he is explaining to Greg, and what is he saying? That he explained to Greg that the Red Cross is the selenium pool 30 kilometers away. The Blue Cross is so Speedy's route and position. So over there, what is he explaining? He is explaining to Greg that the Red Cross. So if this marker would be red in color and I would make a red cross, then this is we could say if this would be red in color, then this would be the Red Cross. So over here, it's being said that the Red Cross is the selenium pool. So Red Cross is showing the position of the selenium pool, that where is this selenium pool is showing the location of the selenium pool, which is 30 kilometers away. So we are told that this selenium pool is 30 kilometers away from the spaceship. The blue crosses show Speedy's route and position, and the blue crosses, so if I make a cross of this kind, but if I use a blue color, then this is the we could say it would be what? It would be a blue cross. But over here I have a black marker, so I don't have a blue marker, so I am not making a blue or a red cross, but I am simply explaining you a cross that is red in color is red cross, and a cross that is blue in color is a blue cross. So the Red Cross is the selenium pool. So Red Cross is showing the location of the selenium pool, which is 30 kilometers away, and the Blue Cross is so Speedy's route and position. So and the Blue Cross, they are showing what? Then they are showing Speedy's route. That is route, you can see the way. That's the road that Speedy has taken, and Speedy's route and position. Position is the location where Speedy is. So here you can see there are two questions over here. You can see word hunt is provided in the beginning, and after that there are two questions. So let me read what word hunt is saying. Look out for words related to outer space in the story. So you are supposed to look out for. Look out means you need to see for words related to outer space in the story. So here are many words that are related to outer space, like we talked about astronauts, Mercury, planet. These are words that those are related to what? That are related to outer space. Let us see how many you can find. So you are supposed to find words that are related to outer space. Keep counting as you read this. So this is an exercise which you can do by yourself. Next, here's a question. Can you spot Mercury in this picture? So there you can see a picture also. And in the picture you are asked, here the question is asking us whether you can spot Mercury in this picture. So you can see Mercury over there. It's the closest planet to the sun. So you can see over there. Next, here's a question that's asking us, what do you think the two were using to track Speedy's actions? So over here, the next thing that is being asked is that what do you think? So what is, according to you, might be the thing that these two are using in order to track Speedy's actions? So they might be using a GPS. So now let's read further. For the first time, Greg showed anxiety. So this was for the first time that Greg was showing what? Anxiety. You can see the meaning of anxiety. That's a feeling of worry or fear. So we come to know that Greg was what? Greg was worried. He was afraid. This is impossible, he whispered. So in a low tone, that in a let's say in a small voice, what did he say? He said, "This is impossible." In the 2 hours I watched him, Mike added. He had gone round the selenium pool 4 times. It seems likely he will do that forever. So over here Mike is saying that in the 2 hours I watched him. That is, in the 2 hours, in the last 2 hours he has watched this Speedy, and over there he saw that this Speedy went to the pool and he went round the pool 4 times in 2 hours. So it seems likely he will do that forever. So there are chances that he will do that forever. That is, there are chances that this robot Speedy will go round and round this selenium pool So there are chances. This is what is being said by Mike. What was Speedy doing? So here is a question: what is Speedy doing? So Speedy had gone to bring what? He had gone to fetch selenium, but once he reached the pool, what did he do? He went round and round the selenium pool. So here we came to know that he has gone round how many times? He has gone round the selenium pool 4 times. The only thing that could save them from the terrible heat of the sun on Mercury was selenium. So we have already come to know this, and this thing has been repeated over here, and it's being said that the only thing that could save them, that is these two astronauts, from the terrible heat of the sun on Mercury was selenium. The meaning of the word terrible is given very bad. So the only thing that could save them from the very bad, that's the terrible heat of the sun on Mercury, was what? Was selenium. And the only one who could get selenium was Speedy, and the only one that is who could bring that selenium for them was Speedy, their robot, their trusted robot. Trusted is someone to whom you have lots of trust. So, if Speedy did not come back, Mike and Greg would die a painful death in the heat. So next it said that if Speedy did not come back, if Speedy, that's their robot, would not return, then these two astronauts, namely Mike and Greg, would die a painful death in the heat. So over there, if this robot would not return, then the robot would not bring selenium along with him, then what would happen? Then these two astronauts would die a painful death in the heat. We can't just wait and do nothing, Mike said rather desperately. So what did Mike say? Mike said in a hopeless manner, in a hopelessly, that we can't just wait and do nothing. So he's saying that we need to do something. What should we do? Wondered Greg. So next, what did Greg say? Greg said that what should we do? That is, what is the thing that we should do? What action should we take? Can't we go after Speedy ourselves? So next Greg is saying that can't we go after Speedy ourselves? So can they go after Speedy themselves? No, we can't. We'll burn in no time, said Mike. So what did Mike say? Mike said that it's not possible for them to go after Speedy by themselves. I have an idea. We could use the old robot that was brought to Mercury 10 years ago, said Greg. So what idea did Greg come up with? Greg came up with the idea that they could use what? They could use the old robot that was brought to Mercury 10 years ago. It has a very simple brain, Mike said, but it alone can save us. Let's use it. So next, what did Mike say? Mike said that it has very simple brain, but it alone can save us. Let's use it. So this was the only way by which they could what? They could save themselves, because it seemed like as if this Speedy would not run. It would not return, and it would go round and round the selenium pool. So this was the only way, that is they could only use the old robot in order to in order to save themselves. But then Mike exclaimed, this is an old robot. It can't move on its own. Someone has to ride it like a horse. Next, what did Mike point out? Mike exclaimed, Mike said that this is an old robot. That is the old robot. It can't move on its own. That is, it cannot move on its own. It cannot go anywhere on its own. And there's a need for someone to ride it like a horse. So like we human beings ride a horse, similarly we need to ride this robot. It's being said by whom? It's being said by Mike. If Mike or Greg rode the old robot and went outside, they would die. Mike decided to take the tunnel route close to the selenium pool. So it said that if they would, that is Mike or Greg, that is if Mike or Greg, that one of them would ride the old robot and go outside, then they would die. So Mike decided what? Mike decided to take the tunnel route. So what is a tunnel? Tunnel is an underground passageway. So Mike decided to take the tunnel route. Route is the road close to the selenium pool. The temperature is 80 degrees Celsius, whispered Mike. So what is the temperature over there? The temperature is 80 degrees Celsius. Who said this? Mike said this. There's the selenium pool and I can see Speedy. So next, what did Mike say? Mike said that he could see the selenium pool and he could also see Speedy. Let's call him, said Greg. So what did Greg say? Let's call him. That's let's call Speedy. Speedy, shouted Mike into his radio. Come back. So this what did Mike say? Mike instructed Speedy to come back. Speedy looked up and saw them. Then he turned away. So next, what did Speedy do after hearing their voice? Speedy looked up and saw them. That is the Speedy saw them. That's Mike and Greg. Then he turned away. After that, he looked away. over their radios, Mike and Greg heard him singing. So over the radio, what could they hear? They could hear this Speedy singing. Mike said weakly, Greg, he has gone mad. So what did Mike say? Mike thought that this robot, it had gone mad. No, said Greg. There is something that's confusing his brain. So Greg did not agree with Mike. So according to Greg, this robot had not gone mad. Instead, what did Greg say? Greg said that there is something that's confusing his brain. So it seemed like Speedy was confused as it is the selenium pool. So here we are going to stop reading the story today. In the next video, we are going to continue reading this story. Thank you.